All right, we'll go ahead and call the special council meeting to order. Madam Clerk, if you'd please call the roll.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Dickey?
Yes.
Mr. Gall?
Yes.
Mr. Nestick?
Yes.
Mr. Paparotis?
Yes.
Mr. Whitehill?
Yes.
Mr. Cushman?
Mr. Whitehill.
Move to excuse Mr. Cushman.
All right, this second, Mr. Brown. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Dickey?
Yes.
Mr. Gall?
Yes.
Mr. Nestick?
Yes.
Mr. Paparotis?
Yes.
Mr. Whitehill?
Yes.
All right, he is excused. With this, we are here for limited business, that being a special council meeting. We'll therefore go to the second and third reading of ordinances and resolutions. Mr. Whitehill.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend statutory rules so that ordinance 28 may be given its second and third reading tonight.
Is there a second on that? Mrs. Dickey? Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Dickey?
Yes.
Mr. Gall?
Yes.
Mr. Nestick?
Yes.
Mr. Paparotis?
Yes.
Mr. Whitehill?
Yes.
Statutory rules are suspended. Mr. Whitehill.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the clerk read ordinance 28 by title only for its second and third reading tonight, including the emergency clause for passage.
Madam Clerk, would you please read resolution number 28 by title only for its second and third readings this evening with the emergency clause.
Being a resolution authorizing the Director of Public Service and Safety to participate in the Ohio Department of Transportation contracts under the Cooperative Purchasing Program for the purchase of machinery, materials, supplies, including road salt or other articles pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code, Section 5313.01B, and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll on resolution number 28 for passage this evening?
Mr. Nestick?
Yes.
Mr. Whitehill?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Dickey?
Yes.
Mr. Paparotis?
Yes.
Mr. Gall?
Yes.
That passes with 6 yeas. That concludes the second and third reading of ordinances and resolutions. Move on to the introduction of ordinances and resolutions. Mr. Gall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. May I be correct in asking that the number be granted to the ordinance being proposed?
Yes, that will be number 29.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the council rules be suspended so that we may introduce ordinance number 29, all three readings with an emergency clause.
Right. Is there a second on that? Mr. Nestick. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Dickey?
Yes.
Mr. Gall?
Yes.
Mr. Nestick?
Yes.
Mr. Paparotis?
Yes.
Mr. Whitehill?
Yes.
Right. Council rules are suspended. Mr. Gall.
Mr. Chairman, I do move that the statutory rules for ordinance 29 be suspended for all three readings with an emergency clause.
Is there a second on that? Mr. Whitehill. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Whitehill?
Yes.
Mr. Paparotis?
Yes.
Mr. Nestick?
Yes.
Mr. Gall?
Yes.
Mrs. Dickey?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Right. Statutory rules are suspended. Mr. Gall.
I move for the adoption of ordinance 29 through all three readings, title only, emergency clause.
Madam Clerk, would you please read ordinance number 29 by title only for its first, second, and third readings this evening with the emergency clause?
Being an ordinance authorizing the extension of the City of Salem sanitary sewer approximately 200 feet generally west along West State Street to provide a sanitary sewer service for the property located at 1076 West State Street, Salem, Perry Township, Columbiana County, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
And is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll on ordinance number 29 for passage this evening?
Mr. Whitehill?
Yes.
Mr. Paparotis?
Yes.
Mr. Nestick?
Yes.
Mrs. Dickey?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Gall?
Yes.
All right, that passes with 6 yeas. That therefore concludes the business that we were here for this evening. The meeting is therefore adjourned.